Well, what a nice day for a walk in the woods, eh, Marina? The sun is shining, the birds are singing,
All right, mate, in here. Come on.
The gangsters are hanging around next to trees.
Oh, you just stand there, keep very quiet, and you might not get hurt.
Well, alrighty then. How long do we keep this up?
You can't be too sure these days. Till you know who you're dealing with.
Oh, I see. Well, my name's Chris, and this is Marina.
I did have a friendly chat with your missus, though I haven't had a chance to make your acquaintance yet.
Ah, well, now you know.
Yeah? That's good. No hard feelings, eh? I like to get things quite straight, you know.
No, I quite understand. Marina, you never told me you were chummy with gangsters.
The trouble with women is, in a good mood, they're always talking.
Oh, well, that would explain a few things about my relationship with Marina.
Now, come on. Sit down, sit down.
Well, thank you, that's most kind. Since you seem to be loitering without intent, any chance of pressing the button on the randomizer for us today?
If we help you, can't be for nothing. I work to the rules. Rules of thumb, as you might say.
And a very well-placed thumb that was too, yes, thank you. Now then, what was that about doing you a favour?
Stick around. Tomorrow you'll find out.
Oh, well, I shall look forward to that. Right, let's see what we have today. Oh, well, it's Captain Scarlet today.
Good.
Yes, indeed, with Fire at Rig 15.
Well, see you around sometime. I'm glad we got that little misunderstanding sorted out.
Oh, yes, well, cheery bye. Oh, what a nice chap.
Leading the fight, one man fate has made indestructible. His name, Captain Scarlet.
So, as we welcome back to the randomizer, the original Captain Scarlet, I have to mention that it's been quite a long time since I actually sat down to record a randomizer. The last time I did this with Wings of Danger, I recorded on the 19th of April. This is now the 9th of June, the day before I need to deliver it. I've left recording this very late, unfortunately. It's very sloppy of me, I do apologise. But a lot has happened in that time. And I find it
Vibrator stopped.
rather appropriate and somewhat sad to note that following the demise of Network Distributing, who released all these lovely Anderson shows and many more on DVD and in many cases Blu-ray, we get an episode of one of their lovingly restored HD high-definition Blu-ray releases with Captain Scarlet. And not only that, but an episode that looks gorgeous. If nothing else you can say about this episode, the visuals are stunning. But as we watch these two chappies on the oil rig, do a bit of
What's the depth now, Charlie?
setting up of drills and things. This is Charlie and
We're near the oil strike zone.
This special oil
McKinley?
is certainly a long way down.
Yeah, but ultrasonic drilling is pretty fast. We'll soon strike.
I hear Spectrum want this fuel urgently for their refinery at Ben Sheba.
Now, that's a place you should see. The processing plant there is unique.
I love the way that dialogue is presented, and I know we have to get the information across to the audience somehow, but it just seems like that conversation is a sort of day one. They would have had that the first day they met each other, and explaining how the drill that they worked on worked, and what the fuel was used for. But hey-ho, it looks lovely. Both Rig 15 here, for this is where we will have the titular fire, and the Spectrum refinery at Ben Sheba. But while these guys are drilling... Oh, you'll have heard me say so many times on the randomizer, oh, I hope they get round to doing the Secret Service on Blu-ray, or Four Feather Falls, or the Protectors, and now... Oh boy, I don't think we're going to see any more. It's such a shame, but it's also, you have to think first and foremost, oh my goodness, an awful lot of talented and nice people, in my experience, have lost their jobs. But it's also important to remember what we have had.
Iron.
And for a long time, the thought of this being available in HD, and Joe and Stingray and Supercar and Fireball, even those better quality copies of Terrorhawks and of course UFO in 1999. All those little archive bits and pieces, like with You've Never Seen This and The Lost Worlds and even Crossroads to Crime and even Torchy. Nobody else would ever have released a lot of that stuff. Certainly not restored like this, as we know from experience. In the case of Thunderbirds,
Cut the siren.
you know, ITV are quite happy to throw out a bare bones, cropped into widescreen,
Look at that gauge.
bare minimum version of Thunderbirds on Blu-ray and call it a day.
I just keep going a bit longer.
Network were always about going the extra mile to create beautiful restorations and gorgeous packages, and they will be missed. And I've waffled all over, you know, it's
Well, over to the lab.
It's fairly obvious. Here we are on the rig, there's a bit of drilling going on. There's a very important valve, and wouldn't you know it,
Hold it.
the Mysteron rings have just passed over it.
Pressure is still rising.
This also makes me think of
Can't be that high.
Sea of Oil,
Stop the drill.
which I seem to recall we covered not that long ago, although it may be longer than I think at this point. It's just interesting to see
I can't understand
the
it.
difference in how the rig and the drilling process is presented in that episode compared to this.
Valve must be open.
And also in terms of how the set looks.
Go and check it.
It's too late. We'll blow.
Because this is a far more realistic setup, I think, than that
He's
episode.
gonna blow. Everyone up.
And the destruction
Leave everything. Come on.
is far more believable as well. Although
Let's go.
Sea of Oil did give us that gorgeous shot of the oil rig exploding straight up, that tower just going that was in the opening titles of Stingray. But we're not talking about Stingray nor Sea of Oil, we're talking about Rig 15, and Rig 15 is a wobblin'. We don't see anybody else on it except for these two guys. Oh, there might have been an extra hanging around earlier.
This is far enough. We're safe here.
I hope.
He comes.
Yes, we don't really see how they get off the rig and get away from it so fast. But it's a very convincing effect, this. The pressure of the oil coming out. And then we get the line.
What it needs now is one spark.
Oh, I'm sure that's not going to happen. Even though we know the title is Fire at Rig 15, because that's already come up. We're just waiting for... Oh! One of the most gorgeous explosions in all of Anderson history, I think. And then just this image. Now we have... You know, obviously the rig is destroyed, but now we just have this great plume of flame shooting up from the centre of the desert. It's gorgeous, and crucially as well, I think they do a really good job in creating a grand sense of scale for the thing.
We have observed the pathetic attempts of Spectrum to combat us.
Oh, cut to that shot of Colonel White. They've noticed us! They've noticed us!
Render them powerless. We intend to immobilize the whole of Spectrum.
Meaning the vehicles, which means they'll have to walk. Or run, as the guys on Rig 15 managed to do very quickly. Oh dear. Still, nice of the Mysterons to once again tell us what's going on. Very kind of them.
Is it absolutely certain that the fire at Rig 15 was a deliberate result of sabotage?
Yes, sir. The drilling superintendent reports that a master valve was opened, and this was not done by accident.
Right. Call a meeting of Spectrum personnel in the conference room in 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't matter who you find, just get anybody. Get Dr. Fawn in there. Why not?
You have all heard the latest Mysteron.
Yes, Scarlet, Blue, Grey and Fawn are present for this meeting.
Meant by it.
I think I know, Captain Blue. When they say immobilize Spectrum, the Mysterons mean they intend to render all our aircraft and vehicles useless.
Much like ourselves, in fact.
Vehicles are scattered around the world. It would be an immense task.
Indeed.
I also love that... I think that the initial shot of the captains has been set up to imply that the rest of them might be around the table, but then you see this shot that proves Ochre and Magenta aren't there. But I just wonder why Fawn is there.
Refinery were destroyed.
There's no way he's going to be involved in this operation, and yet he's you know, he's put on his uniform, he's put on his hat to come to this meeting.
Captain Blue,
Yes, sir.
Sir?
I want you to fly out to Ben Sheba right away. The Angels will accompany you.
SIG.
Dr. Fawn, just go back to doing whatever it was you were doing. Oh dear. So yes, it's a good old Scarlet and Blue mission, as always.
Deals 2 and 3. Immediate launch.
I always wonder about that shot of Lieutenant Green ordering the Angels to launch, though, because he's sitting down. And I just wonder where he's been, if there was some sort of deleted material there. maybe he was at Colonel White's desk talking to him. It just seems odd that they would film him sitting down when we had no indication that he had ever left that chair. Are we going to get the cool... Yes, this is a lovely shot. Scarlet and Blue in the cockpit of the passenger jet, and Blue looks out the window. There's a model of an Angel Interceptor flying alongside. Ah, lovely stuff. I also love that little bit of Spectrum music.
Pipeline, rigs, and storage tanks to cover. Where do we start?
We'll start at rig 15.
We'll start at the thing that's already on fire, and then if the fire spreads, we won't be blamed.
There it is.
Oh, it's beautiful. Love the sparks and flames and bits still falling off it.
Flames must be 1,000 feet high. Sure. It's the most frightening kind of fire there is.
A really, really big one.
That's a job for an expert. We hired the best. Jason Smith.
Yes, in this part of the episode, the whole Jason Smith thing.
The fire making his...
I believe this is based on a real-life character, a chap named Red Adair, and I do not know too much about him, but I believe that he was sort of a celebrity in terms of professional firefighters. I looked him up a little while ago, and...
Accident. Right.
You know, this was 67. In 69, he was putting out a big fire in Australia, but in 62, he had put out something called... I don't know where it was, but I think the fire was called, like, the giant cigarette lighter or something.
Blue of Spectrum.
So I suspect that incident...
This is my truck. Why don't we...
Sorry, I love that. I love that. I've forgotten about that bit. Oh, this is Captain Scarlet and Captain Blue. Yeah, this is my truck. Say hello, truck. The truck doesn't have a name yet. Oh dear.
Yeah, but at least we can hear each other think.
But yes, Red Adair is almost certainly a huge influence on this episode and this character.
Explosive on the market, and a few I mixed up myself that aren't.
Ooh, Nitro 9.
Got something to put this fire out. Spectrum are relying on you.
Yes, the giant cigarette lighter, I suspect... I mean, I've not seen pictures of it. I'm sure it's a very interesting and fascinating story that I don't have time to go into here, thankfully, because I don't know about it.
Why don't you do it?
But I suspect that's a huge influence on this episode, this character and the visuals.
You sure you're gonna need a charge that big?
You got a big blaze there, Kinley. Oil from these tremendous depths is highly combustible. You're not going to blow it out with a firecracker.
Blow it out?
Sure, like a candle. With explosives.
And I do like with this episode, and it's not something I can often say about
It's got to be placed.
Captain Scarlet, I kind of like the guest cast. Kinley and Jason Smith and other guy whose name I knew earlier but have now forgotten. The Captain Brown guy. They're nothing standout, but it's nice that they know each other and they all come across as professionals. It's nice to get a sense of there being other professionals in this world than Spectrum. These people working the oil rigs and Jason Smith here, professional firefighter extraordinaire. It's just nice. It's a very small thing, but these are all very credible characters.
Container at the end of the pole. When the heat melts the metal, then up it goes.
So Jason Smith is taking in his Firefly-like machine with an explosive charge on the end of a very long pole. And who's this watching from a distance? With nothing better to do, it's Captain Black and his trusty binoculars. Where would he be without them? And we already know from the way this is being played and the sinister music. Ooh, that's interesting though. Firstly, actually, I'm interested there. I've never noticed before, but Black's hands are normal human flesh coloured. It's quite noticeable when he's holding up the binoculars to his pale face. His hands are unchanged. But Jason has now got out of his truck. And this is a quite effective, if somewhat baffling, scene. Jason seems frozen. Black is just fixing on him intently. The spooky music is suggesting some powers of the Mysterons are being used to overcome Jason Smith. And he's now fallen. Black is put the binoculars back up to his face.
I didn't see him get clear. Don't worry, he's too old a hand to get near an explosion. He'll be all right.
Good job Scarlet was paying attention, because he's right. Jason Smith has not got out of there. And we actually end with a cliffhanger. Jason isn't dead yet. Will he get out of it? Well, we come back after the advert break and he's still collapsed.
Any second now.
Yeah, there's no hope for him, unfortunately. And it is quite horrible to see the body lying there. We know he's probably still alive, just unconscious. And then, ouch. Oh, that always makes me wince. The fire is now out, but this massive beam
Good old Jason
has fallen right across Jason's back and probably shattered his spine. He is now dead, because we have the Mysteron rings. The official seal of deadness in the Captain Scarlet universe. Once you see those rings, it's all over. Very brutal end to a character, but of course we're not done yet. In one of, I think, probably the more understated, chilling moments of the series, we find Jason Smith, the Mysteron, back in his truck, at the controls, still in the fire suit. He revs up those engines, drops the scoop, and pushes his body just into the debris. And it looks like the original Jason Smith puppet, just protected by the fire suit, obviously. I don't think the puppet was in any danger. But that's a fairly unpleasant moment of seeing his Mysteron replacement just burying his old body. That's quite chilling. Now it's night time. Jason Smith is in his truck. Truckington T truck. And it's another interesting moment here in the way Captain Black is presented, because here we have Jason working apparently as he normally would. He doesn't seem particularly Mysteron.
Who is it? Turn out the light, then you will see me.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. It's odd. It kind of works. I think they've also made a really good choice with this puppet to play Jason Smith.
Come to pass on your instructions from the Mysteron.
Because he's got a really good sort of haunted, hypnotized expression.
Tomorrow,
it may be something to do with the way he's lit.
Refinery at Ben Sheba.
But speaking of lighting, yeah, when Black told him to turn off the lights.
Tomorrow I will destroy the Spectrum refinery at Ben Sheba.
Black was suddenly illuminated, and it's one of those strange moments that doesn't seem to quite track with the rest of the series, that Black is visible in darkness. It's just another sort of odd moment that you add to this collection of odd Mysteron and Black related moments that never quite make sense, but they're still very cool. Anywho, breakfast.
Well, the oil flow's under control. After we've cleaned up the mess, you'll never know anything happened.
Yeah. Jason Smith.
Except for the fact that you don't have a Rig 15.
Where is he, by the way? He was up at dawn. Got in that old truck of his and left for the mountains. He's got another assignment at a dam project.
Pity. I would have liked to thank him on behalf of Spectrum. I can't tell you how important these rigs in the refinery are to us.
They make sure our vroom vrooms can drive places.
That's only a thanks to Jason next time I see him.
Yeah, so Jason is now following the pipeline back to the Ben Sheba refinery. It's a lovely truck interior set as well, and I love this touch of, we see all this equipment, and I think we're meant to infer explosives in the back, and just the set wobbling as the truck moves along. It's just a lovely touch that helps bring this stuff to life.
Well, looks like everything's tied up here.
Yes, I'll report back to Cloud Base.
Captain Scarlet!
Ooh.
Come here, quick!
What is it?
We found something in the debris. It's Jason Smith.
Oh dear, yeah, that was always going to come back to bite them in the bum, wasn't it? Leaving their dead body around.
Incredible. I just don't understand. I saw him drive out of here this morning.
There's only one explanation. Jason Smith is in the hands of the Mysterons.
Oh, I've always meant to see if I could edit that line slightly.
Spotted him.
To make it, Jason King is in the hands of the Mysterons. If you know the Scarlet spoof videos I used to make on my YouTube channel, you can imagine what I might have been able to do with that. Anywho, Mysteron Jason Smith. Well, nobody actually seems bothered that the real one is dead. It's just, oh, he's such a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
Captain,
can't tell you how much it all means to us. Oh, he's dead? Oh, well, never mind.
He's in fast.
Identification?
Yes, he's following the pipeline back to the Spectrum refinery, which is conveniently signposted for any terrorists who plan to attack it. which of course calls for an SPV in a fuel storage tank. I guess this is at the Rig 15 site, or as near as makes no difference. Nearly there. Oh, there it is. Took its time to reveal that one. It's always worth it, though. I love a bit of Spectrum pursuit vehicle reveal. And the Angels are on the trail of Jason Smith's truck.
Have visual contact with the truck. It's on the road 15 miles east of the Spectrum refinery.
Captain Scarlet, Melody Angel reports sighting Jason's truck. He's on the Ben Sheba Road about 15 miles from the refinery.
SIG.
I love with this that Blue has not gone along with Scarlet. And you can always sort of, well, not always, but sometimes tell Blue stays behind because we know that Scarlet is not gonna make it out alive in this episode. And in this case, good thing too that Blue doesn't go along, because he would have been cooked. But within the context of, you know, Blue being an equal, you know, Scarlet's partner and an equal officer in Spectrum, it doesn't really make much sense for him to stay behind. I don't know what he's doing.
Get on to Ben Sheba. Tell them to evacuate the refinery.
Oh, he's making a phone call. Okay, that's fine. I recognise that sound effect. Was later used in Attack on Cloud Base. That's the action station's siren in Cloud Base, which is quite effective and quite chilling there, because you've never heard a sound like that on Cloud Base before.
I'm not going to make it. I'll have to cut across the desert.
And as much as I said I like the visuals in this episode, and I stand by that, I don't quite understand how this bit works. Because the pipeline to the refinery seems to be absolutely straight. There's no curve in the thing, at least not that we've seen. Jason Smith's truck is following it, the SPV is following it, Scarlet's decided he's not going to make it. So somehow he manages to take a shortcut, which involves veering away to the right, and then somehow coming back.
I have visual contact with the truck.
And having, you know, shaved off a load of time.
It's about a mile ahead. Can you pinpoint?
Even though the pipeline just seems to be in a straight line.
Perimeter of the refinery. Time's running out.
I've never got that bit.
It has to be now.
Oh, yes, I know I'm not the only one who hasn't understood quite how that shortcut works. But it doesn't matter, because we have one of these amazing vehicle chase Mysteron showdown thingies. And of course, Jason Smith has a whole canister of explosive thingies. I'm not quite sure why the hand artist decides to have two goes at pretending to throw the thing out of the truck cab. But anywho, got to get him away from the pipeline, because any explosion on the pipeline could flash back to the refinery, and that would never do. So Scarlet's positioning the SPV between the truck and the pipeline. And this is great. We're getting... oh, it's just lovely. Jason Smith on the puppet stage with this puppet scale SPV side essentially just smashing into him, and it's just the attention to detail in sequences like this. Well, all of the show all the way along the line, but particularly moments like this are just gorgeous. Scarlet has almost succeeded in knocking Jason off course. One last bump. Yep, he's veered away from the refinery, and he hits a slight incline. That's it. Can Scarlet save himself? No, because he's crashed into the refinery now. Oh dear. Well, there is a slight fire at the refinery now. I think they may have put it out. They'll probably prioritise that over putting out the fire that is Scarlet's SPV. Oh dear, the poor guy did not come out of that well. But this is a nice ending.
The refinery and the pipeline are safe. That means Spectrum's supply of fuel is secure.
Hooray.
Thanks to Captain Scarlet. Did they find the body?
Yes, we've taken his, body back to Cloud Base.
Well, I say body, it's more a collection of buckets, really. I can show you some pictures if you aren't feeling too squeamish. But I do like this this sort of subdued, slightly somber tone.
Good. Dr. Fawn, we have a patient.
I also recognise the keep out sign at the refinery there. I think it might come from Stingray.
He's done a great job. And I'm sure you'll effect a complete recovery. Just make him comfortable. He'll do the rest.
Dr. Fawn? Are you there? Dr. Fawn! Oh my god! Well, that was Fire at Rig 15, and yep, as I said at the beginning, it's a lovely looking episode. It's never been one of my favourites, but it's good stuff. It's definitely, I would say, in the sort of higher half of the series. Probably only just, because I think, although the effects work here is gorgeous, there isn't really much in terms of a story to sort of make it one that's really, you know, worth coming back to all that often. But it's a simple story, well told, and as I said, with some nice guest characters and some nice nods to real-world events as well, which is always nice to see in this show. But yeah, the effects, I mean, you know, the story is named after the prime effect, so you know you're going to be onto a winner on the effects department with a title like Fire at Rig 15. Yeah, it's all-round good stuff, as Captain Scarlet generally tends to be. I do enjoy it. As I said, it's not a favourite. It'll never crack my top 10, I don't think. But, oh, the effects work in this. All that fire, all those explosions. It's a lovely little showcase of effects work, particularly on the explosion front. So yeah, Fire at Rig 15 delivers fire and explosions aplenty. So, good stuff.